Before we jump into the episode, I want to thank our newest How I Doctor sponsor, Savaro. Savaro is a top telestroke and neurology company that was built to fix one of the most predictable failures in modern medicine, getting timely, consistent access to a neurologist when you actually need one. Their team of board-certified neurologists deliver rapid video response, clear decision-making support, and continuity from the first exam all the way through treatment planning and management. Hospitals working with Savaro see faster door-to-needle times, fewer transfers, and measurable improvements in patient outcomes. And because Savaro was built by physicians, the workflows actually match real-world medicine. If you need stronger, faster, and more predictable neurology coverage, visit savaro.com to learn more. And now, let's get into today's episode.
I was invited to give a talk at ACOG at our annual meeting last year in May. The talk was about why it's important that doctors are on social media and how important it is to get our voices out there. And a female physician came up to me and said, "Don't you make money from this? I think if you told people that you make money, more people would want to do it." And I was like, "Oh, I never thought to talk about it, I guess." So when someone pointed out to me that being open about the financial aspect might encourage other people to want to do this, I figured that I should just say it out loud.
Welcome to How I Doctor, where we're bringing joy back to medicine. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Fran, a board-certified OB-GYN who goes by paging Dr. Fran online, where she has over 1 million followers across TikTok and Instagram. She has been very public about the ability to earn 3 times more money correcting misinformation on social media than she does delivering babies and providing women's health care in Rochester, New York. That sentence alone should make every physician sit up and pay attention. Not just because of the economics and the transparency, but because of what it reveals about the state of medicine in 2026. We are living in an era where patients increasingly distrust their doctors and turn to influencers for health advice. Fran graduated from residency in 2021, right in the middle of COVID, where trust was starting to fracture, and almost immediately started posting videos to combat women's health misinformation she saw flooding social media. What began as a mission-driven side project has become a full-scale media operation just with her, brand partnerships, talent management, and income that's now surpassed what she makes clinically. So we're going to talk about the economics of physician influencing, the professional identity crisis of being a doctor who makes more money online than in the clinic, and I think the impossible question of whether physicians have an obligation to meet patients in these digital spaces where health decisions are actually being learned about and made. Dr. Francesca Haydanek, welcome to How I Doctor.
Dr. Graham, thank you for having me. What an intro. So much to cover. I don't know if we're going to have enough time, but I'm into it. Yeah, let's go.
We got to fly through this. It has been just really exciting to see you take off as a voice of reason among the TikTok world that has, I just saw an influencer an hour ago talking about his Candida serum that will fix everyone's gut health problems.
Yes.
What made you do?
Candida is
that's right.
Yeah, yes. Candida is the root cause of all that is wrong with our bodies. So I'm hopeful his serum will help all of us.
Fran, was there a moment or a patient encounter or a post from somebody that made you said, "Screw it, I'm going to give my own opinion on this"?
There was a video. So like you said, I graduated from residency in 2021. And then I took 6 months off because I had just had my second child and I wanted to be home with them. And this was the time that TikTok was really starting to take off. And so I was spending a lot of, time scrolling, and the algorithm gets to learn who you are. And what the algorithm learned was that I was really interested in pregnancy and labor and delivery and birth control and breastfeeding. And so I remember this post coming across. This girl's at a bachelorette party, and she is making a video saying that she's sad that she has to pump and dump. And I, as a breastfeeding mom at the time, also a physician who was really interested in breastfeeding medicine, knew she didn't have to be doing that. So I was like, oh, I'll just quickly make a video. I had a history in content creation prior to this. I used to write a blog back in med school. And so I was used to already having my voice out there in a little way, but I had 100 followers on TikTok. I wasn't even posting videos. I was like, I'll make a video. addressing this. So there I was breastfeeding my own baby, explaining why like pumping and dumping is not something that you have to do if you're out at a bachelorette party. So it wasn't that I like set out and was like, my sole mission is to address medical misinformation. That was just the thing that came in front of me. And I wanted to help the girl out and let her know that she didn't have to dump her precious breast milk off the boat because she just had a margarita.
It's fascinating. What made you decide to kind of break a little bit of, I think maybe like physician tradition of we don't give medical advice online? We always have these caveats. Oh, I'm providing medical education. This is not advice.
We as physicians have access to all these guidelines and information and up to date and open evidence and journal articles. And like our patients don't have access to any of that. And so they wonder where we get information from. So I just put it out there for them. So when I talk about like pumping and dumping, I show the evidence. When I'm talking about studies, I show the evidence. I tell them where they can get the information to look at it themselves. And to me, at least, it's never felt like I'm giving a person direct medical advice. It's just information for you to learn. And then I always say, go take that to your own doctor and see how it applies to you. Because even if I read you the study and I tell you the meta-analysis and I tell you the gold standard treatment, that still may not apply to you. So take that and go talk to the person who actually knows you.
Yeah. You've said that the medical field owns so much of why people are going to TikTok for medical information and that we have failed them. What do you mean by that?
So I can only speak to my schedule that I have because that's all I know. But many of us are scheduled to see a patient every 10 or 15 minutes. So we have 10, 15, 20, 30, if you're lucky, minutes to talk with a patient, hear their story, get to know them as a person, get to understand the context of what they're telling you about, maybe do a physical exam, maybe order a workup, and maybe give them a fix that day or maybe not. That is not enough time to also explain everything that's going on, right? We're kind of passing over the education component of medicine because we don't have the time. We have to see more patients. Our reimbursement has significantly decreased over the last decade and the decades before that. Medicine of 2026 is not medicine of 1996. It's not the time. It's not the reimbursement. So we've skipped over the part where we're telling our patients what's going on. We've skipped over the part where we tell them what we think it could be but isn't and why we ruled it out or why we're not ordering that test. We have to see the problem in front of us, fix it, and move on to the next because you have 26 more patients to see and they all need your help and they all want more time. And so patients get frustrated. That's frustrating. They're not getting the time that they want. They don't get the explanation that they want. They don't get the thorough review of all the things it could be, but it isn't. They're not given every single option to deal with it. And they get mad. And so then they go, well, I want to know more. Like, I want to know what like my other options are. I want a second opinion, even though they can't afford it because insurance has made it so expensive. So they go look online. And, that's where the people who fall outside of the traditional medical model take advantage because they see the frustration. They see the patients who are stuck in this insurance loop. And they're like, if you pay me cash, I'll sit down with you. And I know that you're frustrated because you have a chronic disease that people are telling you is lifelong, but I actually can solve that for you because that makes patients happy. And so it's just like
you can cure it. You can't
you
even
can cure it. I
the
know
doctor's
the doctor
only
told
going to
you.
manage it.
Yeah, it's a Band-Aid the doctors are giving you. I know the root cause because chronic disease is frustrating, right? No one wants to have
Yeah.
a chronic disease, especially if it's something that they can't control. Of course, if someone's telling you, like, I can fix you, you're going to listen to that person because your doctor only spent 10 minutes with you. You didn't even get to tell them your whole story. You got no information. You just got to send a medication and got sent out the door.
You're totally right. It is such a luxury when I get to explain my medical decision making to my patient. I'll say, hey, we're going to start with this test, but it could be this other thing. So we might also have to do this other thing because you have some of column A and you have some of column B. Like, it is so nice to be able to actually just tell them what I'm doing and why, as opposed to just, oh, I'm going to go click some buttons and things are going to happen. And 6 hours later, we say, yeah, everything's good.
Yeah. And your patient, if you had told them all those things, understands what's happening and understands why you have to get both the CT scan and the ultrasound.
Right.
They feel that they're a part of their care. But when we don't have the time to do that, our patients don't feel like they're a part of their own care anymore.
Fran, I think I just want to commend you again for being so open and transparent about your income. Our company Off Call is trying to do physician salary and workload transparency, and physicians don't like to talk about money. Nobody does, but I think it's particularly taboo for physicians to share numbers. If anything, it's all in like hushed secrets about how much money people are actually making. What made you decide to be like so open about it?
So I'm faculty at a residency, and so I'm very open with my own residents about money because when you graduate from residency and they ask you how much do you want at your first attending job, like you don't know what to say, right?
Yeah,
And if you lowball yourself, of course, they're gonna be like, "Yep, absolutely, I'll give you that."
totally.
So I'm very open with my own residents about like this is what I was offered at my first job. This is what I'm at now. This is what I know that your other like previous graduates are making. Blah 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 blah. So one, I think on a personal level, I try to be very open about
Yeah.
it. Two, it was very uncomfortable for me to talk about how much I made from social media.
Like, was it a growing thing of of anxiety for you that you were like, I'm going to pull the Band-Aid off, or
No, I would never was going to talk about it.
oh, really?
I was invited to give a talk at ACOG at our annual meeting last year in May. The talk was about like why it's important that doctors are on social media and how important it is to get our voices out there. And a female physician came up to me and said, "Don't you make money from this? Like, I think if you told people that you make money, more people would want to do it." And I was like,
Oh, interesting.
"Oh, I never thought to like talk about it, I guess, and like you don't make money from social media right away, right? I had started making TikToks in 2021. I didn't make really a dollar from it until the end of 2022, and that, dollars. By the end of 2023, under like 5 figures, 24 was 6 figures, and then in 25 I tripled the previous number. But I never had thought to talk about it because, talking about money is taboo, and how much do you make, right? Like how many shifts are you working a month? But I thought that if people knew that if you liked doing this, if you wanted to be on social media, that maybe eventually you can also benefit financially. And I knew there was a lot of money to be made online because of my previous role as having a blog. And I knew that you could make money. I was making money when I was in med school, and I paid for a lot of things then with that money. So I knew that there was money out there. So when someone pointed out to me that being open about the financial aspect might encourage other people to want to do this, I figured that I should just say it out loud.
Well, now you're making me feel bad because I was one of the very first like med student bloggers back in 2003, and I didn't know I could make money. I was just doing it for free.
Well, I was a style blogger, right? So there's
Oh,
money to
okay.
be made in fashion.
Yeah, for sure.
Not as many people are going to pay you just to talk about like what you learned in pathology that day.
Thank you so much for choosing to listen and subscribe to this show. I started Off Call because I was tired of flying blind as a physician, and it brings me so much joy to know just how many of you are out there who feel the exact same way. The feedback we've received, the community we're building together, it's nothing short of incredible. I want you to know that I'll do everything in my power to continue to bring you incredible conversations that put clinicians back at the center and help to change the culture of medicine. If I have one favor to ask today, it's simply this. Please, please, please sign up for offcall.com and subscribe to our podcast. Both are completely free. And roughly 38% of the people who listen to the show frequently don't subscribe. So if you're one of those people, subscribe and come join our community. I promise not to let you down. Every single subscriber allows us to make this show bigger and better and to build a stronger collective voice that'll help us make change in medicine. And to everyone who's already joined and subscribed, a huge thank you. I want to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Savaro. If you've ever waited and waited for a neurologist to call you back, you know the problem that Savaro was built to fix. Savaro is a physician-led telestroke and neurology company that delivers rapid virtual neurology coverage that's reliable. Their board-certified neurologists connect by video in under 45 seconds, and they stay with you through the entire decision-making journey. Hospitals working with Savaro report faster door-to-needle times, fewer unnecessary transfers, and measurable improvements in patient outcomes. If your hospital needs stronger, faster, more consistent neurology coverage, visit Savaro.com to learn more. Fran, what do you think it says that a physician influencer can make more from influencing than from seeing patients and delivering babies and treating women's health issues?
Listen, physicians are not poorly compensated, right?
Correct. Yeah.
I am very fortunate. The income I make from just being a physician is more than almost anyone in this country is making and living off of. I think only a small percentage of content creators make this amount of money, right? It takes years to get to this point. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. I spend a lot of time doing the work that I do, but I like doing it, and I have always liked doing it. I think the trajectory of social media has changed over the last 20 years, right? It's gotten more legitimate over the years. Even in the 10 years from when I had a blog to now, the career of being a content creator now is a career. Like, right, many of us have
Yes.
careers in it. And I think in 10 years from now, it'll be legitimate. People will go to school for this stuff. They will get skills that we currently don't have, right? The skills that we have as content creators are we make them up, we watch YouTube videos, we just figure it out. People will eventually go to school for this and they'll make money from this. And so I think if you can be a part of that as it grows, that's where the money is.
Yeah.
But what does it say about our society? Probably nothing great, right? But then again, NFL players make more money than
Yeah.
all of us too.
Totally.
There's money in entertainment. This is entertainment.
Yeah, I think you posted a couple weeks ago and shared like a little bit of your work day, but I think you said something like in the mornings every weekday or something, you're just recording for an hour or something like that. Walk us through like what's the workload actually look like?
Yeah. So if it's a normal clinic day for me, which I have like 2 to 3 days per week, I get up, I get myself ready, I get at least my oldest child ready to get on the bus. The nanny comes. We switched to a nanny this year, and it's been just like life changing for myself and my husband. My husband's also a doctor. The nanny comes over, my life is improved. I drive to work. I don't start seeing patients until 8:40, but I typically get to work between like 7:45 to 8 o'clock. And then I have those like 30 minutes to make a couple videos, make a video, make 4 videos, like whatever the day. It's usually like 2 videos I'll make. Sometimes I know what I'm going to do. Sometimes I go into like my saved comments to see like what do I want to respond to that day. I almost never plan much ahead. Maybe a day or two, I'll be like, oh, I need to talk about this like new study that dropped. And then after I'm done with that, I don't record again throughout the day. That's why a lot of my videos, you only see it in like 2 spaces. You either see me in my office with the exam room behind me, or you see me at home in like a very specific chair with good lighting, and that's it. But I see patients for the rest of the day. I'm also the medical director for my hospital. So I'm
Wow.
in meetings like all the time. If like
Yep.
over every lunch hour, I have a meeting basically. And then I go home and I'm with my kids and I make dinner and I put them to bed. And at 9:15, I finally get to lay down. And then I usually will like edit a video or like think about what I want to do the next day. But that's how I have been able to figure out how to do this with all the things going on because I am fully like I'm a full-time doctor and a mom. And so I just have to find those windows. And that's how I figured it out.
I talk to a lot of physicians. Almost everybody on this podcast is a physician that also does something else, right? Everybody, I think, struggles with this idea of having the two roles, but the two roles inform each other in really important ways. How do you think about like, oh, would I ever give up being a doctor? Would I ever give up social media? Because it does feel like the two combined are, it's 1 + 1 = 3, but it is like a lot of work.
First of all, I could quit being a doctor and no one would know. But, like, I would know. I wouldn't quit. I love my job. I will never quit working clinically to do the social media thing. And I think almost all of us I don't think there's not a single doctor, and even the biggest ones on social media, like, right? Dr. Mike, Mama Dr. Jones, Tommy Martin, Lady Spine Doc. The Dr. Mike's the biggest, and even he still is working clinically a little bit. Will I cut back a little bit? Yes, I already have. I'm zero point 0.9 FTE, so I get 2 days per month that are just my off time.
Listen to that, audience. The doctor cut back by going to zero point 0.9.
Zero point 0.9,
Whoa.
still working on average like 60 hours per week. But no, I get 2 days per month now that are mine, and that's where I do some of like this kind of stuff. But the fact that I'm a practicing physician, I think legitimizes the work that I do. I am inspired by the work that I do. I'm inspired to make content based on the work that I do. So I think it'll always mesh. I think as my life moves through the stages, things will ebb and flow. My loans will be paid off in 2 years once I hit my PSLF 10 years. Will things change then? Probably, right? I have a grant through the state that requires me to work a certain amount of clinical hours until
Sure.
October of this year. Will things change after that? Yep. But I'll never stop doing this job in one way or another.
Fran, has your hospital ever had, or your medical group, your employer, ever had issues with? Has that been a source of tension at all?
I am so grateful. My hospital, my chair, they're so supportive of me. People online are crazy, right? So there are people who have contacted my hospital, have
Of
like
course.
said lies about me, have said I've made videos of patients, who have said I like attacked them, who whatever. My chair will be like, "Hey, someone said this." And I'll be like, "Yeah, and this is what else they said because blah blah blah." And
Right.
they're like, "Okay, sounds good."
Done. Yeah.
They've given me some guardrails, right? I do not want to cause problems for my healthcare system, my chair, any of that. So I would say for any leaders out there who have people who work in social media, please give them some grace because generally what the people are reporting them for is like actually incorrect.
It does feel like physicians and other healthcare professionals are held to just a way different standard. The wellness person can talk about the candida stuff and sell it to you for $100 a vial. But if you were to do that, you would be held to a completely different standard, and maybe it would be appropriate for the medical board to come down on you and say, well, Dr. Fran is a physician licensed in the state of New York. It's not appropriate for her to be doing that. Like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like it's a fair fight sometimes.
Absolutely. I mean, the wellness industry is a much larger industry than the pharmaceutical industry. And I think those of us who talk about this a lot like to continue to talk about that, right? Because the wellness industry is always saying stuff about doctors and big pharma, but like big supplements makes much more money. What are you talking about? And big supplements have a store in their link tree where you can buy it from with their code, where they get a cut. When I send someone a prescription for metformin, I don't get a cut for that, right? The wellness grifters are so good at selling their story that there's no one there to be like, hey, but what about your 1,000 supplements in your link in bio where you make money? Where's your disclaimer, right?
You don't shy away from politics. The other reason I love your content so much. Do you feel like we are winning or losing the information war online on social media?
I think it's taken a turn. I think really in the last couple years, I've seen so many new healthcare content creators popping up and really a lot of people taking their own spin at addressing misinformation and really just trying to like chip away at it. I think people are starting to be smarter consumers. I think the more people who are out there talking about the wellness way grifting, the more people their eyes are open a little bit more. So I would still say we're in a little bit of a tug of war, but like we're not letting up the fight. We're like step by step, video by video, trying to like open people's eyes to the things that people are selling them online.
Yeah, I think, people consistently seeing your face and your message and your takedowns of kind of garbage, I think does give you tremendous trust and power to be a voice of reason in a way that honestly, I don't even think the AMA is able to do frequently.
Well, for me, it's because I'm a singular face. So people know what I'm about. They know what I stand for. They know what I'm going to tell them. I've been pretty consistent with that and the whole time that they've known me. So it's just like your doctor, right? When you know your doctor, you're going to trust them for what they say. And so same with being a content creator online. People get to know you and then trust the things that you're going to say.
Fran, where do you think the particularly heinous women's health misinformation lies? Where is that coming from? Is it coming from a coordinated attack? Is it coming from people feeling like women's bodies and women's health are an area of insecurity for them? Like, why do you think it's happening so frequently?
I mean, women's health is highly polarizing religiously and politically, right? There's no other field of medicine where religion plays such a strong part of medicine, right? From purity culture to trad wife culture to all of that. So, like, religion plays a huge part, and for many people, religion is a big part of their lives or their upbringing or whatever. So, that's where a lot of shaming comes from, and I try to point that out too. Like when people invite, I'm posting a video in a couple days about again a chiropractor went on a religious podcast where the first thing he brings up is how bad birth control is, and it's like how can you people not see the ridiculousness of a religious podcast asking a chiropractor about fertility who's talking about birth control? Like, this is insane, but, religion. So, religion is one. Politics obviously is another. Again, we're probably the most political field of medicine outside the couple years of COVID, where infectious disease got to be our partner. But our field of medicine is so controlled by politics. There's many states in the country where you can't even practice full scope OB-GYN, including abortion care. So it's all those things, and that just makes it like a perfect pool of misinformation from all angles.
What have you found to be the most effective strategy to communicate, change minds, gain trust? I think physicians, we are always going to go straight to an evidence-based systematic review. And I don't know that that's always the most effective way to convince other people who are non-physicians. Like, if I want to argue with an OB, I will pull out a systematic review or a guideline, right? But I don't know that that is the way that the lay public,
Gets it? Yeah.
gets it. Yeah.
I think part of it is acknowledging where they're coming from. Why do they want to learn about alternatives to labor induction? And why is that important to them? And how do you meet them in the middle in that? Or how do you show them, like, okay, you have these three different things. One of these, yeah, there is some evidence behind it. Is it strong? No, but it probably has low harm. So, like, yeah, you should try it out. And if you're not ready for that, then let's talk about these other options. Study just came out that was talking about physician made YouTube videos on cancer and diabetes, and only 20% of it showed high grade evidence was used in these videos. And it also showed that the videos that had more views had lower evidence sources in their videos because medicine is boring. Like, diabetes management is boring. And who wants to watch a YouTube video about like NPH insulin? I don't. That's not terrible. So, it's more exciting to talk about like the less evidence-based stuff, because medicine is boring, and that's where you have to be careful when you make videos. Is that you have to find a way to like keep people engaged in like the real stuff and not like the fringy stuff that people might be more interested in.
I think you've done some sponsorship deals in the past. Do you have like categories of stuff that you'll never take money from, or things that just don't, like, oh God, that is so far fetched. I just can't ever think about that.
I do have one team who manages my sponsored content. I found I just didn't have the time to do the back and forth. I don't have any training in business, so I was not good at negotiating. I wasn't sure what the appropriate prices were. 2 years ago, I joined a talent agency, and all they do is manage my sponsored stuff.
So they'll email you and say, hey, this company would like to work with you, and then you give a thumbs up, thumbs down, or tell me more.
Yeah, so initially they would kind of just follow everyone and like get me to offers, and I have declined over hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of offers because initially they started just like responding to everyone, right? So every supplement company who responded, they went all the way down the line to like presenting something to me. And after like the third time, I was like, listen, guys, I'm just not going to say yes to a
Yeah,
supplement.
yeah,
And like I talk about supplements, there are evidence-based
for
supplements. Like
sure. Yeah.
I believe in supplements for people, so I just say no to that. There are a lot of things I say no to. There's mistakes that I've made along the way that I'm new to this too, and I'm learning. But I decline way more than I accept. I'm really focusing on working with organizations, education, or companies who I believe in and recommend outside of getting paid for. I talk to other content creators and people who are bigger than myself who are like, yeah, a supplement company offered me $350,000.
Yeah.
$350,000 to make 12 videos over a year. And they
Wow.
said no. And, that money is really out there. I don't want people to shy away from it if that's something that they're interested in. I think you can work with companies who really mean a lot to you and who want to collaborate on education, or if it's a product that you use and love, if you that feels comfortable to you, I think that's fine.
Sure. I always just think like, God, if physicians didn't really take the Hippocratic Oath so seriously and weren't so like obsessive about like, I just don't think that's ethical or that's right. Like, my God, I feel like things would be so much worse,
I
you know?
know, I know, and, like, it is the hard thing with this is that when people and, like, for me, I'm, like, a younger attending, right? So, I am still working I just finally have an emergency fund funded. I didn't before, right? So, I still my husband and I combined still have $600,000 in student loans. It's really hard when someone comes at you and goes, "Do you want $80,000?" I'm like, "I do, but I'm gonna have to say no."
Fran, I've got some rapid fire questions for you. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Worst piece of medical advice you've seen go viral on TikTok? It's probably hard to pick. There's so many.
Putting hydrogen peroxide in a tampon and inserting it for an hour.
Was that for the candida?
I don't know what that's for. I don't know. Chemical burn, I think. Jeez.
Fran, do you read your comment section?
Oh, yeah, I love my comment sections.
How do you protect yourself and your mental health from trolls and bots and assholes?
Listen, if you are just there to disagree, like, I don't care. If you are, like, very mean to me, I'm gonna block you. Right? I wanna have a discussion with people, like, that's why we're doing this, right? Especially with the people in the gray zones, like, let's talk about it and understand what you're thinking, and let me tell you why that might not be right. But if you're just being mean, if you are calling me words that are inappropriate, block and move on, like, I'm not gonna take that.
I think I finally got you to join my podcast because I kept commenting on your comment section.
Yeah, I think you did, you said it somewhere, and I was like, "Oh my god, I never responded to his email." And I feel bad. I mean, I can't read every single comment because
Yeah.
I've there's a lot of comments
You have a lot of
sometimes,
followers. Yeah. Yeah.
but to be honest, I do read almost every comment. I may not respond, but I see almost every single one.
If you could force TikTok or Instagram to change one thing about its algorithm to reduce misinformation, what do you think that would be?
I would love for them to have, like, a red check mark instead of, like, the blue check mark. I would love for them
Oh,
to
interesting.
verify healthcare content creators who can prove that they, should be talking about the things that they're talking
Yeah.
about.
I think I've seen that on YouTube where it'll say this information comes from a verified health physician or like a healthcare professional or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love something like that because,
Yeah.
and I've made videos about this too. Anyone can call themselves a doctor, right?
Yes.
Like, I don't know if you saw the video about the girl who's like, I'm a doctor and I don't get pap smears. That girl's not even a doctor of anything, nothing. She just called herself a doctor. And I spent like 15 minutes trying to find this girl, like, what her education was in. Like, no one else is spending that time. They're just hearing a doctor say she doesn't get pap smears. And so I
That's
would
right.
love
Yeah.
for, like, any healthcare worker who talks about education to get some kind of like verification.
Yeah. Dr. Frank, can you name a physician content creator you admire and why?
Dr. Mary Claire Haver is an expert in menopause. I was inspired by her because learned so much from her as a physician. I thought the way she approached talking about medicine was approachable. I have loved to watch her scale her business and spread the knowledge of menopause to such a greater audience. I think she's done such a nice job of being passionate about her field while educating the public. I think that's really admirable.
I think a lot of some are on social media, maybe they're on Facebook or Instagram and they're just watching things, but they're not creating content at all. And I think maybe they look down on some physician influencers as just, influencer is a pejorative term. What's one thing you have learned or that you wish your physician colleagues around the US or the world kind of understood about the information ecosystem and what you're able to do that maybe they wish they could do?
When you asked me about this, I thought about my friend and colleague, Dr. Heather Florescu, who is an OB-GYN who only has an Instagram account and only makes like still picture content. And she started making this because she was really heavily involved in the stillbirth community. And she would go to things to support the stillbirth community, to raise awareness for the stillbirth community. And the people would come up to her and be like, well, can I follow you online? And she's like, what do you mean? What do you mean follow me online? And now she's this advocate for the stillbirth community, for patients, for physicians. I've learned so much from her. Like, she'll make a post about how you can update something in Epic so it looks a certain way, or how you can remove something from a problem so the patient doesn't see it. And I know that there's so many physicians who all are passionate about one thing or another. So you don't all have to be Dr. Fran, who sets her phone up at 8 o'clock to record until 8:30 on TikTok. You can be someone who creates a Substack to talk about how to prevent chronic kidney disease, or you can create a YouTube video where you talk about IUD pain management, or you can start a Facebook where you only make written word posts educating your patients on lifestyle changes to prevent hypertension, right? There are so many different ways that you can get your passions and your education out there for your patients who want to be a part of that. And it doesn't all have to be what I do. Not that everyone needs to be a content creator, but in the end, this is where our patients are. They're asking for us to be here. And if it at all speaks to you, I think there's many ways that you get to be a part of it.
It's kind of the cool long tail of the internet that, we both may agree that medicine is inherently boring and not that exciting, but you can probably find your tribe of other doctors, patients, nurses that actually find minimal change disease really exciting and important.
Yeah, it's not me. I don't even know what minimal change disease is, but I'm sure someone out there does and they want to know more.
You used to, though. You did for step one. I guarantee it.
I kind of love it. I think there's a lot you could play around with that.
Well, Dr. Fran, I just want to thank you for all of your content. I'm just such a huge fan. It's been an honor to get to talk to you from, it looks like, the clinic room where you see patients as well.
Yes, yes. Welcome to the workroom.
Fran, where's the best place for people to find you?
You can find me basically everywhere at Paging Dr. Fran.
Amazing. Dr. Fran, thank you again for being here. Thanks for joining me today. For interviews with physicians creating meaningful change, check out offcall.com/podcast. You can find How I Doctor on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll have new episodes weekly. This has been and continues to be Dr. Graham Walker. Stay well, stay inspired, and practice with purpose.